Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new season of Cuz You Don't Know Football. Guys, it's great to be back. I missed y'all so much, man. When I'm not with y'all, I'm not talking. I don't talk to people. I don't even like people too much. I like y'all though. Y'all family. You see what I'm saying? But everybody else, I don't know, man. We got to figure out this crazy thing called this world. Either way, we gonna have a great season for y'all, man. We got a lot of changes coming. We got new guests, new topics, man. I wish that you guys knew. I just want to cheers to y'all. And I thought about this. Last season, it kind of dawned on me. When I first started doing this show, I was drinking like liquor. Now I'm drinking water and and lemon juice and stuff like that. So, cheers to y'all for getting your boy right too. Okay. Wow. We have just gotten through the draft, and now we this is the starting point of the year. You know what I mean? This is where we start to figure out this crazy thing called football, this crazy thing called the NFL. And we're gonna get to the bottom of a lot of stuff. But first I want to tell y'all about why we choose to start the new seasons around a draft. And there's really one big major reason why we decided to do this around the draft. It's because I think the off-season topics are terrible. Have y'all seen these sports shows? Oh my goodness. Like just these topics, it's just so all right. Let me not say they're terrible. You're right. Let me not say they're terrible. I don't like hypotheticals with tangible results, if that makes any sense. So people talk about these mock drafts. What does a mock draft do? Like, I'm not sitting around telling y'all what every team's going to pick for them not to pick that player, those players, everything. I'm not going to just do that. To me, like that's a waste of time. And I like to talk about. I like to build from when stuff happens. So yeah, I kind of don't like mock drafts. The only thing worse than a mock draft to me is two mock drafts. What was the first one for then? What exactly are you trying to tell me that the first one wasn't it? And then they got the nerve to make a third one. See, this is where you start losing me. Like y'all not saying nothing. It's a whole bunch of hypothetical conversations, and I'm like, you can have that. So that's why we start now. So so we just had the draft. Some interesting things happened in the draft. I'm gonna be honest with you, but let's just run through real quick every team's first round pick, and then I'll start from there. So Cam Ward, the Tennessee Titans had the number one pick. They selected Cam Ward. The Jaguars moved up in the draft, uh, got some picks away to get Travis Hunter. Um, the Giants selected Abdul Carter. Um, the Patriots got Will Campbell, offensive tackle. Probably should have said everybody's position, but we're here now. The Browns, after moving back, got Mason Graham. You know what? I changed my mind. I'm not going through all these picks. Ashton Jeanty did go to Boise State. I'm only going through the ones that were interesting to me. My Colts got Tyler Warren. That's not really interesting, or I'm not saying interesting. It's interesting. It's not. I could have guessed that. We could have guessed that. So that's what I'm saying. Um, yeah, the Chargers got Omarion Hampton. The Packers selected a wide receiver in the first round since like I want to say like 80s in the 80s. I think it was. I could be wrong about that, but it's been a long time. They don't draft first round wide receivers, but they got Matthew Golden. Um, the Eagles got Jahad Campbell. That was a good pick. So, and this is the other thing. So it's hard to evaluate these draft picks because none of us really know. Going back to the mock draft thing, that's why I don't like it. None of us know if these draft picks are going to be good or bad for about like 3 years. It's going to take about 3 years for us to really get a real good look at it, which might be one of my topics coming up. Looking at a draft class 3 years ago. What were we in 2025? So the 2022 draft classes and seeing were they good or were they bad, you know? That might happen. I'm not gonna say it's gonna happen. It might happen though. Um, either way, so I'm sure all of you heard Shadur Sanders was not a first round pick to say the least. But I wanna just address some of these draft picks and which ones I saw. Travis Hunter going come well. First of all, the Cleveland Browns. Why did y'all? You could have drafted Abdul Carter, and you decided to move back and then pick up Mason Graham. I don't know if he's good, but I know he's not Abdul Carter. And then y'all actually draft Shadur Sanders, but you drafted a quarterback before him too. I'm not sure what the Browns' thought process is. Um, I got to think on that one. I'm not sure what their thought process is. Um, I hope it works out for them, but I'm just saying like they could have did a lot of different things. Like if they would have had Abdul Carter with Miles Garrett, sheesh. With Denzel Ward, sheesh. That would have been crazy. But I'm not sure about that pick or that those decisions. So I have to see how that goes. But once again, you never really know what the draft is gonna provide to you. Who's going to be good, who's going to be bad. None of us know. And anybody that says they know, they're lying. With few exceptions, they really don't know if this person's going to be good, bad, outstanding, a bust. We won't know that yet. Next for me, the Jaguars moving up to number 2 to select Travis Hunter. Now here's my thought on Travis Hunter, or let me say my hang up with him. We've never seen somebody come into the NFL and say we're gonna play on both sides of the ball, no matter what. The greatest athletes the NFL has ever produced, none of them came into the NFL and said we're gonna play on both sides of the ball regardless. So I have no idea if the Jacksonville Jaguars are the team that knows what to do in that situation. I tend to lean towards no. They're not that team. Um, but you know what I mean? They there. And that's what's up. So I really gotta see how that's gonna turn out. And my question about Travis Hunter is, well, I'm because thinking like a GM down the road, how do you pay him as opposed to how he's playing? So Um, it's no secret number one wide receivers get paid a lot more money than number one cornerbacks. That's just the nature of our game. If he's a number one wide receiver and number one cornerback on your team, do you pay him? I mean, the both salaries, the middle of both salaries. Like, what do you do? What if he's the number two cornerback and the number two wide receiver? How do you then pay him? What if he's the number one cornerback and the number two wide receiver? The question is, how do you pay him? So everything revolving around this kid is going to be new for me. And I'm going to be learning that too. I'm going to be learning how this is going to look myself. Um, I think that's something a lot of sports enthusiasts don't tell you. They don't tell you, I don't know how this is going to go. Or they always got to make it seem like they know everything. This is new for me. You know what I mean? I played football since I was 4 years old. I've never seen somebody come to the NFL and say, I'm gonna play both sides of the ball. And I have no idea how that's gonna look. I have no idea how you pay him. I'm gonna see after this. I really do like the Giants draft as a whole. I think they got better. Not be a contender in the NFC East. You know what I mean? Good yet, but I think they're one draft away. I think they're one draft away from that. Yeah, absolutely. But we got to see how this shakes out. But they drafted a quarterback pretty early too, and that was interesting. And it wasn't once again it wasn't Shador, so I don't know. I don't always watch the college football tapes, and I usually get my information to start from the commentators from sports shows and stuff like that, just like you guys. The only problem with that is I when I was younger I didn't have to work for money and I didn't have to do all this other stuff. I would watch college too in depth, so I had a more of a feel about who was gonna be coming to the league. So I don't know all of these players in depth. I haven't seen them in all the situations that I wanted to see them in to say this is. where it's going to be. Now, I will say this: the Bears choosing Colston Loveland as their number one tight end. I'm gonna tell you this though: I hate I hate tight ends that aren't tight ends. So the biggest person that I can think of with that would be Kyle Pitts of the Atlanta Falcons. When you draft an extreme athlete that's a tight end, the difference between a tight end and a wide receiver, a tight end has to have the ability to block. My problem with these tight ends that are coming in, like Kyle Pitts, they're actually just less athletic wide receivers, and they're not tight ends. You see, you have to be able to block people as a tight end. From what I'm gathering about him coming out of Michigan, Colston Loveland, he's a he's unathletic. I don't want to say unathletic. He's a less athletic wide receiver and not a tight end. Yes, tight ends are a little less athletic than um than wide receivers. But if you get a good one that can block and run routes and stuff like that, you're gonna have a matchup problem that the league is gonna be pulling their hair out with. You know what I mean? So Travis Kelsey probably caused a problem because he actually can block. You know what I mean? He's not given credit for it, but he actually can block. But I like my tight ends to give me the thought process that they're Rob Gronkowski, that they're um it's my man from Kansas City. Why can't I think of Kansas City's tight end? Wow, Tony Gonzalez. Sorry that took so long to get to. I want my tight ends to be like Rob Gronkowski. I want my tight ends to be like Tony Gonzalez. I like my tight ends to be tight ends that can block, almost like an extension of an offensive lineman, but can run routes like a wide receiver. And now that becomes hard because it's like, all right, I'm not sure how you do that. You know? Do we have anything else? So I'm not going too much in depth over the wide receiver, or excuse me, I'm not going too much in depth over the draft itself because off over this off season we're going to be diving in with the with our normal co-host with our some new hosts coming on. We're going to be diving in and breaking down these in depth. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to go too much in depth with it. So what I am going to do though is talk about who the internet is saying is the winners and the losers, and I'll make my related thought process on that. Where we at here? The Arizona Cardinals apparently had a really good draft, um, and that's interesting. So they gave. Mm, this isn't exactly how I expected this to be looking. Hold on. I figured they would have like a quick winners and losers, like winners these teams, losers these teams. That's what I'm looking for. Hold on, y'all. Give me a second. Mm, Right, what time do they have it? Hmm. Hmm. Not really. Still no. Okay. So they're saying this is from theguardian.com. So they're saying one of the winners is the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm not sure if I'd classify them as winners because I have no idea how their whole project with, once again, with Travis Hunter is going to go. I have no idea if how good he's going to be with them. I know he's going to be good. I'm certain he's going to be good. But I don't know how good he's going to be and how they're going to choose to use him and how many plays. So I can't say that Jacksonville's winners because I don't know if they've put on display that they know what to do with them. You know what I mean? So they're saying that the Atlanta Falcons are losers. Um, I feel like the Falcons are going to be losers regardless. I was trying to figure out how to say that, but I feel as though the Falcons, regardless, I was going to feel like they're losers because the whole NFC South has been losers. Now, I will say the Panthers have gotten better. Now, the Panthers might be a team I feel a little bit better about. See, and they said one of the winners was the Chicago Bears, and I hated their first round pick. I hated it. That was stupid to me. Unless that man knows how to block, I disagree with that. The Chicago Bears were not winners. The Philadelphia Eagles were winners. And this is I'm gonna be honest with you, the Eagles, just exactly how we felt about the the Chiefs coming into last season, the Eagles might be building a dynasty here. The Philadelphia Eagles may be building a dynasty. This might be a back-to-back year. I'm not seeing the team like off of a Super Bowl team. You keep some players and you lose some. That's just how it goes. The ability Howie Roseman has been showing to replace the players that he has lost. Like they're saving money. Like like they're saving money and didn't get worse. They have younger, equally as talented, probably equal production players that are younger, further away from getting paid, and people are like, eh. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, this is amazing. Like, so what I've seen over the last couple years, the best GM jobs that I have seen, Howie Roseman of the Eagles, um, the Kansas City Chiefs. Sorry, I can't think of his his name, but the Kansas City Chiefs organization and the Rams, less need of the Rams. So the Eagles, the Chiefs, and the Rams. I am in awe of how they are able to figure out their situations, and all of them have looked different. The Eagles, we're talking about them potentially being a dynasty and how well they're replacing players that they're losing in free agency because of how good that they have drafted. So they just keep drafting well over and over and over. The Chiefs, because they figured out how to implement Patrick Mahomes in a way where he can carry all of it. There are a lot of roster holes, and that's just being honest. I thought they were going to win the Super Bowl last year. The Chiefs do have a lot of roster holes, but they're great at the positions that you need to be great at, and they're great at all of them. They're great at. They have a very good offensive line. They have a dominant player on the defensive line. They have dominant players at cornerback. You know, offensive line, defensive line, quarterback, um, cornerback. Those are positions that you have to be good at now. You know what I mean? Of course, they've had Travis Hunter. They've had a difference maker, although he's aging now. So I'm interested to see. You mean what they do this year, from their draft standpoint and how their draft is going to be looking. But I don't see a reason why they're not a playoff team. I don't see a reason why somebody is going to they're a factor. They're going to be a factor in the AFC. And it still wouldn't shock me that they got back to the Super Bowl. I just have to see what other teams have done. And when it comes to the Rams, uh, you just got to. I think that goes so under the radar that they mortgaged their future. So they mortgaged now to win the Super Bowl that they won. So they've been mortgaging and they haven't even missed the playoffs. You know the drafting that you have to the draft strategy that you have to replace players that you had to pay top of the league money, and they had like it seemed like they had 15 players that they were getting top of the league money, and I'm like, where is all this money coming from? The fact that they were able to move on from that whole regime, draft everybody with rookies, and not even miss the playoffs, and really threaten. They really threatened the Eagles last year, and the Rams are going to be the Eagles' biggest threat coming into this year. They're going to be the biggest threat. So that's pretty much it. Um, So they okay. So here's something interesting. They just said so. What's the losers? The 2025 quarterback class. Now Cam Ward as a number one overall pick. I would be very curious to see if like how he would stack up as number one picks at quarterback have gone in the past. So previous years, the number one picks, the first round quarterbacks, like where would he stack up against them? Do I think he's good? Yes. I love his work ethic. I love his demeanor. When I say I love his demeanor, I think quarterback is now a position where your quarterback got to be a little weird, a little off-putting, like not really wanting to be in front of the, like when you talk about Josh Allen, like he's not somebody or Patrick Mahomes, they're not people who you're like, you know what? I want to go to the bar with them. I want to just hang out with them. I want to, do fun stuff. Like they don't do fun stuff. Their fun stuff is boring things like watching film and getting ready for the season. You know what I mean? So Cam Ward, I think, has that kind of demeanor where you probably won't want to go to the bar with him. It's just not the things that he's interested in. But he's a cool dude, man. And I think he's good. I'm not sure he's great. And number one picks to me should look. I don't want to say special because that makes it seem like he's not special. Number one overall picks should have qualities about them, or what's what I'm looking for. I will stick with qualities. They should have qualities about them in terms of their game that makes you say, "Oh, what's going on here?" His game doesn't really show that to me, but for all kids coming up, the fact that he was a 0-star recruit in college, he worked his butt off to be a number one overall pick. That says a lot about him. You know what I mean? So I'm curious to see. He's in the division. You know what I mean with my Colts. I don't know how well that's going to go, and I want to see how that is. So yeah, I'm curious. So Shador Sanders going to the Browns. I don't know if their organization is set up for a proper quarterback, and he's like fifth on the depth chart. If we're going to be honest about it, so I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Um. Okay. Well, let's see. Listen, I'm actually having more fun doing that than I thought. Let's go. All right. So even with colleges, what teams are winners and losers? So Georgia seems to be the biggest winner out of the college teams with drafted. Yeah, Georgia has become the new what Alabama was under Nick Saban. Yeah, Georgia is that. They're going to produce the most talent. They're going to get the most talent. Um, and they're winning. You know what I mean? So Ohio State is another. But Ohio State honestly has been like the SEC, not in the SEC. They're always a school that produces a lot of NFL talent. Very yes, that's true. That's true. That's true. So yeah, so we all over the place, but it's good there. Woo, woo. Okay, so we're probably gonna wrap this up because once again, this being the first episode of the new season, We just wanted to give you a little brush over, a nice little brush over of what's about to go on, because it's about to get crazy here. Next 10 months is about to be crazy. Um, that's how long we film for. That's why we need the break we need. Um, so yeah, we'll leave it right there. So with that said, once again, family, welcome back to the new season. I can't wait to produce this content for you guys. I love y'all. Thank y'all for making my dreams come true. And just like last year, I'm your boy Reek. You can catch us on Spotify and YouTube for the full episodes. Catch us on Instagram, TikTok. Actually, I gotta tell y'all about the TikTok. Excuse me, not the TikTok, the Instagram. So this is funny. So a little off football topics, but on that, I got a question for y'all. Did y'all know that you can create your Instagram account, and when you're boosting it, that you can be boosting where you created it at, as opposed to where you want it to go? Um, if that makes any sense. My assistant created the account and was somewhere else, and every time we boosted, we were boosting into the wrong. I mean, we were getting our target market, but we were getting far more of what wasn't our target market, which is amazing. But we had to make a change and start boosting so that we can get to the target market. So we have a new Instagram handle. It's all good. We're gonna send details to everybody, and we're gonna try to get everybody over to the new channel so that y'all can see that. Because Instagram and the algorithm is weird. I don't know. Either way, back to what I was saying. You can catch the full episodes on Spotify and YouTube. Catch the catch the reels on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We all over the place. And just to tell y'all again, come on, I got a secret. Y'all already know it, but I'm gonna tell y'all again. Cause you don't know football. I'm your boy Reek. Like Martin said, I'm gonna see you when I see you. Peace. I gotta get less rusty.